Jim Olivier's Home Improvement Company, Restoral Dental, and KLFY Plus welcome you to this special half-hour presentation, Veterans Voices.
Welcome to our special program, Veterans Voices, where we honor veterans here in Acadiana and across the country. I'm Lydia Alcala. We're here at the Veterans Memorial in Munkus Park. At the fastest growing VFW post in Louisiana, leaders and members are dedicated to ensuring our veterans are taken care of, giving them a sense of camaraderie and instilling patriotism in our state's youth. Former State Commander Don Reber explains just how they do it.
Don Reber's mission to serve our country has turned into a mission to serve his fellow war veterans. The VFW allows him to do that not only locally, but also at the state and national levels.
It's twofold. At the local level is about the post and what we do for the community and our veterans. But the VFW at the state level is also about taking care of our veterans legislatively in the state and also nationally. We're here to look out for our veterans and our current service people.
Post 9822 Commander and State Junior Vice Commander James Bork says this is the main mission.
Foster camaraderie amongst veterans. And how do we do that with our post here? We do all kind of, social gatherings for veterans, our meeting nights, and just things like that, and also offer resources for veterans so they know where to go to get their benefits and how to go about doing that.
In just a few years, Post 9822 has gone from roughly 170 members to 425. Reber believes that's largely due to great leadership and the unwavering commitment to protecting foreign wars veterans while also creating future soldiers.
When we go in and we go into the schools, talk to students, or we have these programs for the youth to encourage patriotism, that's the future of our country. We want those people to understand what a fantastic country they live in.
Reber says fighting in Vietnam for over 3 years gave him an understanding of responsibility to family and to his country.
Being involved in the VFW is just it's just progressive on that service back to my country. I no longer was fighting in the war itself, but I'm fighting for my comrades that I served with. I'm fighting for the comrades who served before me, and I'm fighting for the comrades who served after me.
Bork wants to remind our local veterans about the importance of continuing the camaraderie they had in the service.
To all the veterans, thank you for your service. We've all veterans here, we've served, so we know what it means. And I encourage you, even if you don't qualify for the VFW, join a veteran service organization. That's how you learn about what's going on, and you get to link up with other fellow veterans, and maybe they've gone through something that you've gone through, and they have a way to help you. So that's the biggest piece, is helping each other.
One way veterans can get the mental health care they need is through Acadiana Veteran Alliance's Heal Center. At AVA, the goal is to support veterans in all areas of life, whether that means job placement for one veteran, mental health solutions for another, or even funding existing veteran-focused philanthropies. Here's more about AVA.
The recent creation of Acadiana Veteran Alliance's Heal Center provides free therapy sessions for veterans living with post-traumatic stress.
We're careful to use that terminology of PTSI because we do believe that it's an injury. It's post-traumatic stress injury and not a disorder. But we know that it affects about 85% of our veterans. And we know that the program that we have established here through AVA and our HEAL program and our HEAL Center is extremely effective and helpful in treating that.
Annabeth Stafford helped in the creation and launch of the HEAL Center. She says it started after AVA saw success with the HEAL program, where veterans can get a free SGB injection.
SGB stands for stellate ganglion block. It's an injection that you receive one time in the stellate ganglion nerve cluster. It's a mixture of anesthesias, and it's basically a hard reset for your nervous system. So when you're stuck in that hyperarousal, hyperanxiety state, it kind of brings you down and allows you to be able to access those other therapies and treatments much more readily. So our HEAL Center expanded on that already successful programming to be able to pick up where we left off. So if SGB is the storm stopper, our HEAL Center picks up, and that's the cleanup crew that comes in and kind of helps rebuild a future without PTSI.
How it works is a veteran will fill out a form online. They'll soon be contacted by an AVA team member for an over-the-phone screening. The veteran will then be connected with a trauma-informed counselor and begin their 12 free sessions.
We want to make it accessible by funding. We want to make it approachable by having it virtual and utilizing telehealth and things like that. And we want to make it to where all they have to do is show up, and we take it from there. We do the work after that.
AVA founder Andrew Ward went through this process himself and says he's proof that this treatment can help veterans with PTSI.
I was one of the first ones to go through the SGB program and get the injection myself. Saw the firsthand experience of how it lowered a lot of my hyperanxiety, a lot of the post-traumatic stress that I was focused on and you know, seeing over the years. And so for me to be able to come out and say, look, it's not just me that works. I mean, we have like an 85% success rate. So that means out of 185 people, and even the 15 that maybe aren't getting it, that's fine, because then maybe we'll find another pathway for them. But in medicine, an 85% success rate is pretty darn good. And one of the kind of quotes we get is, you gave me my life back. I felt like the first time before I went off to war, I finally came back to that person again. So that's the goal.
Ward tells us AVA also hosts social events for veterans.
That's paramount. I think one of the things that veterans, what they miss is that camaraderie. What they miss is that teamwork. What they miss is that part of it, that they were a part of something bigger than themselves. So that when they get out, okay, they have to go to a job, they have family, they have kids, all the things. But getting them back together as just a little part of that makes a big difference.
The mental health of our local veterans has become a priority at AVA, but it doesn't stop there. Ward says he and his team want to guide veterans in other areas of life as well.
I mean, it's a holistic solution, right? For us, we want to create this entire way where if you are in a place that's not the best, so we're going to get you a better career. We're going to get you your post-traumatic stress solution through the Heal Center. We're going to put you back where you feel confident in yourself and how you can be confident to come out and be a strong member of society.
Going into year 5 of Acadiana Veteran Alliance, Stafford and Ward want veterans to know what's available to them.
We're here waiting for them. They literally just have to show up, and showing up is as simple as clicking a link and taking 1 minute to fill out a form, and we will find out how we can serve them. No matter what that turns out to be, we'll find a way to serve them.
If you or a veteran you know is living with PTS, the professionals at the Heal Center want to help. Find out if this free treatment is right for you at supportava.org. We are visiting with Andrew Ward, founder and CEO of Acadiana Veteran Alliance, but also chair of the Mayor President's Veterans Affairs Commission. Andrew, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Lydia. Good to be here.
All right, tell us what the Veterans Affairs Commission is and sort of what the Mayor President's idea was for this.
So she came to me and she had an idea that we really wanted to create a comprehensive and cohesive commission. It's alliterative right there. But what we wanted to do was take all the different veteran organizations that were all doing great things in the community and give them the opportunity to come together and share ideas, create new initiatives, and really make Lafayette Parish and Lafayette City the best that it can be.
Yeah, so what does a veteran-friendly, which we've heard the Mayor President say before, what does a veteran-friendly Lafayette look like to you guys?
Veteran-friendly, veteran-ready, those are both good terms that we like to use. So I think it's a combination of initiatives that we want to have. Instead of saying thank you just on maybe a few holidays a year, what can we do year-round? How can we create advantages in work placement? How we can get new career opportunities? How can we work with the economic development groups like LEDA, One Acadiana, to be able to really take veterans and have them become a driving force? Yep.
Now, you're a veteran yourself, we know that, but you also have a son who's currently serving.
Correct.
What does it mean for you to be able to provide a better future for him whenever he decides to come home one day?
Well, I think generationally what we want to do with this commission is we want to take care of the ones that came before us. We want to take care of my group right now, that's the post 9/11 veteran, but then like my son, the ones that are coming back and they're in their early 20s, mid-20s, and what are their needs? Because their needs are going to be drastically different from ours and from our fathers and grandfathers.
Yeah. Now, I understand that the public is invited to sort of get involved with you guys and learn what's going on, but also pitch some ideas. So for anyone who does maybe have some ideas, maybe they're a business and they want to help you guys help veterans, is that welcome at these meetings?
Yeah, open to the public. I mean, any idea is a good idea. Anything they want to, see kind of come to fruition, they can bring. I can't say we can do everything for everybody, but for us, having those individual veterans at least listen to, and then we can take those ideas and form up something, that's good for the parish and good for the overall community. Yep. That's the goal.
And what have these last few months looked like for the commission? Have we been able to accomplish anything great for our veterans?
We have some things in the pipe. Some of those things have to be voted on by the parish commission. But yes, we already have some new initiatives that's going to separate us from not only communities here in the state of Louisiana, but around the country.
Yeah. And I've talked to you before in other situations about wanting to even sort of recruit veterans from different states in the U.S.
So
is that a goal?
It is. We're going to tie in together. So we have another group called the Boot that I'm a part of. And what the Boot does is they recruit military members after service to come live in Louisiana. And very selfishly, I want them to move to Acadiana and Lafayette. Yeah. But if they want to move to Lake Charles or the North Shore, Baton Rouge, we give them the opportunity to work with our team and place them. And they're coming in with a next career step, a great civilian life, and all the things that they might have been worried about when they were coming out of the military.
Yeah. Now, we might have some veterans watching today or just people who want to support our local veterans. So tell us how we can keep up with when these meetings are happening and what you guys are doing with the commission.
So I'll give LCG a lot of credit. So when they built out a website, so if you go on the city's website or the parish's website, LCG, you can go ahead and there's a page for us that you can find the Veterans Affairs Commission. There's an email directly to ask us questions or to anything they want to say. There's the meeting minutes, there is the agendas, there is, you know, everything, even the people that are on it. So you can get in touch with us going that way.
All right, Andrew, thanks so much.
Anytime, thanks.
That is a little bit about our Mayor President's Veterans Affairs Commission serving those in Lafayette.
Coming up, we'll tell you about a resource center for veterans suffering from PTSD.
Honoring our heroes. Veterans Voices will return in a moment.
Fighting for our country comes at a cost. Some soldiers give their lives for our freedom, and those who do make it home carry the weight of their experiences. Marine Corps veteran Russ Hosmer has created an 8-week program to help veterans manage their PTSD symptoms. He explains every soldier is different.
Welcome back, everyone. Russ Hosmer joining us now. Russ, you are a United States Marine Corps veteran, also running a business now called Constant Progression, where you are a life coach and health and performance strategist. We're talking about a new PTSD program, so thanks for being here with us today.
Yes, thank you for being having me here. I really appreciate it. This is a big step, right? Yeah. Because when we talk about something like PTSD, it's misunderstood, but it's also understood, right? And we're here just to fill that gap.
Yeah, so let's talk about this program, Recovery and Resilience. So what made you want to start this program? What did you see that made you go, oh, this is necessary?
Yeah, so the PTSD Recovery and Resilience program was pretty much born from me, from myself, because I have PTSD. I'm also a PTSD survivor. So I understand PTSD and how it affects my body, because I went through that journey. And that's kind of where this program actually was born, because it healed me. Not fully healed, because as you know, when you have trauma, it lives in your body. It's always going to be there, right? But how do you manage it? Right? So you want to have a life that you're going to be restricted on. You want to have a life that you're able to manage when you have a PTSD episode, when you're having these emotions. How do I deal with them? How do I recognize these emotions? So that's kind of where it was born, was from my own journey. And I was just like, you know what? I don't need any veterans, or anybody for that matter, law enforcement, firefighters, 911 dispatchers, anybody who has PTSD, they don't need to feel like this.
Now, you mentioned emergency personnel and first responders. This is also for them, in addition to veterans, of course. So let's talk about those key features, the program pillars. There's 5 of them. So we're starting out with emotional regulation and expression. So that's the first thing that they will touch on in this 8-week program?
Yes, the very first thing we do is we really have to explain to the client, to the veteran, first responder or whatnot that has PTSD, why is this happening in their body, right? So we kind of explain the neuroscience back behind that and what it affects and how your brain's affected by that, right? Because these individuals are not broken, right? A lot of times they believe that they're broken, but they're not broken. Our brains are differently. They're developed differently through the trauma. Everything we do is emotional. So we need to understand our emotions and how their emotions are in our body, because our emotions start in our body, not in our mind. So it's a lot of a nervous system regulation. So that's a really important foundation. So we start the PTSD program on just the basics, understanding.
Yeah.
So that is step one. Then we go into cognitive resilience and reframing. What does that mean?
Yeah, so basically what we do is we take the cognitive and we learn how to reframe our thoughts, right? So we get a lot of negative thoughts. So how do we reframe those negative thoughts back over into a positive thought so we're able to regulate and understand and have compassion for the emotions that we have. But we also use a lot of grounding techniques as well, too. And what I mean by grounding is it calms you down. It brings you down, right? So when you ground, right? So we'll do a couple different techniques.
You guys also work with someone who is living with PTSD, their spouse or their caregiver, or both.
Yes, yes. And that's a big component. The person with PTSD needs their help, but there's a gap in communication there. So it's like, how do I help this person? It could be just a simple touch. It can be just a rub on the back of the neck. You know, some people don't like to be touched. So we've tried to fill that gap, so we fill that communication gap, which is critical, right? Because it affects relationships, you know, your finances and decisions, and you know, just your family life too, and it shouldn't. So it's a basic communication thing. So I think that's a big component.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we go into whole person recovery. So you're also going into, you know, mental health and mental recovery from that PTSD, but you're looking at, you know, physical things as well. Yes,
absolutely. So movement creates more of a control environment for your nervous system, so you have to move. So it's a whole package, right? So when you move, the more energy you put out, the more energy you get back. We're not clinical. But we complement, right, the clinical side of the house. And I think there's a gap there that needs to be filled, and we're trying to bridge that gap. So that's kind of what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and I think for these veterans and first responders, talking to someone who has been through it and done the work and lived through PTSD, like you said, that will, I think, make them feel more at ease going through this kind of intimidating process.
For sure, yes.
So how can we, or anyone watching who is interested in joining the 8-week program, how can they do that?
Yep, so they can just send me an email. They can find me on Facebook. I have all my stuff is on Facebook. It's my main platform, and that's just under my name, Russ Hosmer. And but they can also give us shoot us an email, and that's just constantprogressioncoaching@gmail.com.
Perfect. constantprogressioncoaching@gmail.com. That is how you can learn more about this 8-week recovery and resilience initiative for those living with PTSD. We'll be right back.
Veterans Voices will return after this.
For the first time, there's a museum honoring the legacy of the Navy SEALs. We'll take a tour of the facility as we share the stories of these heroes.
They are the Navy's elite Special Operations Force, highly trained, extremely proficient commandos. Navy SEALs, an acronym for the environments in which they operate: sea, air, and land. They execute covert operations all over the world. It was Navy SEAL teams who freed Captain Phillips and eliminated Osama bin Laden.
The number 2 man immediately leveled his gun and killed bin Laden. If there's a special operation under the water, on the water, or coming from the water, Naval Special Warfare and the SEALs are going to do it. They're a critical component to national security. It's a 70-week process if you don't get rolled, hurt, or injured just to get the SEAL Trident. 1 out of 5 make it. So that's 2.5 years of training before your first overseas deployment.
San Diego is the West Coast home of the Navy SEALs, and for the first time, our city has a museum that honors their legacy. Brian Beef Drexler is a retired Navy captain, a 25-year veteran of the SEAL teams and the former commanding officer of SEAL Team 5. He's also the executive director of San Diego's Navy SEAL Museum.
We are trying to capture 80 years of rich, adaptive history told through the traits of discipline, service, teamwork, commitment of just an outstanding community. So I hope a guest comes here, they're inspired, and we transport them back in time so they can see the evolution of this community.
And when you come to the museum, it's the docents who bring the experience to life. Former Navy SEALs and Special Warfare combat crewmen who want to answer your questions about what it's like to carry out the dangerous missions of a real Navy SEAL team.
My first tour in Vietnam, that's what I carried. In fact, all of that is basically how I was dressed.
Don Crawford is a Navy SEAL from the Vietnam era.
When somebody walks away from the museum, other than seeing all of this, they've actually talked to people that were docents that were in the teams that have a background, and they can get a little bit more personal insight.
This is the SEAL delivery vehicle.
Mark Belong spent 27 years as a SEAL team operator, and like Beef, he too was once the commanding officer of SEAL Team 5.
So here in San Diego, we have so many retired and former SEALs and UDT and all this history that live around us, and we don't even know about it. When you dig into it, they're just our neighbors, and they have so many stories of their own and artifacts and pictures. That's what I really feel is important, is to have this location, and then for the community to understand what we do and how special this organization is.
Current's picking up and pushing us sideways.
But the amphibious nature of the SEAL mission wouldn't be possible without the elite crew members who make up Special Warfare Combat Crewmen.
Or you'll often hear the acronym SWCC. Those are the world's greatest boat drivers. They insert or drop off and sneak in and drop SEALs off and pick them up all over the world. They're highly, highly trained, and they're pretty much driving the equivalent of jet aircraft on the water right now.
The museum features numerous interactive touchscreen kiosks that tell the stories of past SEAL team operations. The museum experience concludes with a wall that's very important to the values of the SEAL teams.
We're calling it a call to action, and it's all about service. Could be the military, but it could be go into law enforcement, first responder, volunteer at a soup kitchen, be a teacher, serve something bigger than yourself.
Conveniently located near downtown's Embarcadero, the Navy SEAL Museum is open and waiting for your first visit.
Honoring our heroes. Veterans Voices will return in a moment.
Thank you for joining us for Veterans Voices. To watch these stories and more, log on to our website, klfy.com, or download our free app, KLFY Plus. At Muncus Park, I'm Lydia Alcala.